So this brings us to the end of our section on design advice, and we'll summarize some of the key aspects that we've explored. So we'll start off first of all with probably one of the most important aspects. Is all about ruthlessly minimizing unnecessary work from the user's point of view. We want to help the user to achieve their goals in the most easy, effortlessly way possible for the user. Even if that means as developers, we have to do more work. But in terms of the user's cognitive, mental, visual, and physical activities, we want to reduce those wherever we can, just to make it as easy as possible for the user. And the key thing we highlighted here is that really is from the user's perspective. We want to understand the things that help them move them closer to their goals. And that's what we want to do. Anything that requires them to do an activity that from their point of view they would ideally go, what, do I really need to do this? I don't particularly want to do it. We want to try to get rid of those aspects. We also looked at the idea of people changing their mind, and that is a perfectly normal, common human reaction. We all do it. And because of that, we want to make sure that the software that we create, that it has a really good, comprehensive undo and redo facility inside it. And that's something then that we almost encourage the user to make use of. There's a number of very powerful advantages that emerge from that in doing this here, it will help the user build their trust in the application. They know that if they do something and it didn't turn out the way they wanted to do it, it's not a problem. They can just undo it and go back. That's a fantastic element then. It will really make the user an advocate of the software and help provide them with great assurances around that aspect. It also encourages them to try things out because they can experiment. They can see what this does. What if I do this here? And that experimentation, which again we want to encourage, it helps our users discover new features and new ways of doing things. The next section after this, we're going to think about some of our usability metrics. One of those is going to be around learnability, the ability to learn a system. And a comprehensive undo and redo can provide a powerful way then of helping the user over a longer period of time improve their aspects, to discover new and different ways of doing things. And the final one was around really sort of visual and textual parsing and making it as straightforwardly as possible. We want the user to be able to look at something and almost to effortlessly to see the structure, to know how things are related and linked and grouped together, to be able to follow a visual path through this. If our interfaces have a lot of text, we want the user to be able to parse through and to identify if it's relevant and not relevant. And that's one of the key things then about our visual hierarchies. We want the user almost at a glance to be able to easily locate the things that they're looking for, to look at something and to understand, is that relevant? If it's not, let's skip over it. If it is, then yes, to select it. And to make sure where they are selecting things that it is indeed relevant from their point of view. That applied then to names as labels as quite important elements. We want to make sure that they're easily understood. We want to use headings and bullet points and layouts, and we generally want to get rid of any unnecessary words as well. So we explored a reasonable number of different practical aspects that we can use to improve our hierarchies, visual or textual. So that brings us to the end of our design section. In the next major topic area after this, we're going to go on to look at how we can measure usability. And that's going to be through a range of different types of experimental aspect, where we're getting the user to use something and we're measuring elements of it, through to us asking and surveying our users. And we'll also look at some of the mathematical aspects around this in terms of, well, if we collect data, how can we analyze that data? What conclusions can we draw from it? And what are the strength of those conclusions in terms of the level of confidence that we have? But we'll explore all of those in the next section.